The Promise is a movie directed by Terry George and it stars Christian Bale, Oscar Isaac, and Charlotte LeBon. And it takes place in the year 1914. It's based off a true story about the Armenian genocide that took place in that time frame. And this movie is all about a man named Michael who is played by Oscar Isaac. Now this is where the promise will come in. He promises his family that he's going to marry a rich woman and then use her funds to go to Constantinople to learn to be a great medical student. While he's on this journey, he meets a woman named Anna, who is played by Charlotte LeBon, and they both fall in love. Alright, now let's go back to what I just said in the first 5 seconds of the video. This movie was directed by Terry George and it took place in 1914 and is based off the true story about the Armenian genocide. But then I just switched it to something else that has nothing to do with the main story. I gotta say that this movie had great performances. Oscar Isaac did his part. Charlotte LeBon did her part. Christian Bale had a big buffy mustache. He definitely did his part. Performances was there. My main issue with the story is that the story does not know what's important in life. It's basically telling you that it's okay to fall in love even though your 4-year-old daughter is getting ready to fall to her death. That's pretty much how I felt while watching this film. And the film focuses way too much on the romance that Charlotte LeBon has with Oscar Isaac and Christian Bale. But while you're watching the film, you're just getting this love triangle that switches to a love square. It is very distracting and it takes away from the main plot of the story. And this movie was very hard to watch when it transitioned into the genocide because this is a story that hasn't been told before. I haven't heard that this is the worst genocide in history behind the Holocaust back in World War II, where 6 million to 11 million Jews died and 1.5 million Armenian civilians was killed. I felt like that story was just a subplot. And that shouldn't be. Especially if you're trying to tell a story that hasn't been told before. And that's one of the most frustrating things about it. Like, I didn't really buy the romance because I was more invested with this story. This story I never heard before. Want to learn more about, want to know what happened, but yet they just kicked that subplot to the curve and focus on the romance, which is okay, but you can have the romance as a subplot and have the Armenian civilians getting killed as the main plot. And the pacing with this movie was all over the place. Like, it starts off slow, but in the third act it picked up. I was into the story, but the writing in this movie is what got to me. Because while they do all that, Oscar Isaac and Charlotte LeBon's characters want to have a love moment while the genocide is happening. Like, get your priorities straight. Yes, it's a great story, but it's how you present the story on screen that makes it qualified to be a good film. Just because it's a tragic story doesn't mean it's going to get an A+. It's a masterpiece film. And you can tell me a great story. You can tell me one of the most great story. But it's how you present the story from your perspective. For example, a rapper. A rapper can tell you a story about racism, the troubles of a black man in America. But yet it's how he presents it to his perspective and see if it's good or not. For example, listen.
Black man, drop top. They go to cops. They go to cops. They go to cops. Is it because of my people? Is it because of my sneakers? Is it because of my jersey? Is it because of them perfect?
You see? He just talked about racism right there because of how he presented. So yeah, this movie definitely deserves a Michael Keaton Batman. I mean, this is an average movie. I would not watch it again. The rewatchability is like 1. Just watch it one time and then move on to the next film. I mean, this is a tragic story, but I recommend you just learn about the story from Wikipedia or other websites. The presentation of this genocide wasn't presented correctly. So yeah, that's my main problem with this film. I have a pre-screening for the movie Unforgettable. Or you can call it Obsessed 2.0, and I'm going to have a review for that tomorrow. And I can't forget it, for some reason. I can't forget it. If you like everything you see and you agree, click right here to join me in the Batman family. I'll have more Batman-tastic reviews on the way. You have been warned. Till then, ciao.